All right, we have another episode for you. This time it is featuring my friend Taylor, who is also a musician. I'm going to show you some tadbits of information as far as a few little snippets of his stuff. I can't show everything because of how our audio system of law works. So only a few snippets, but a little piece of cake before your dinner. So I hope you all enjoy the little snippet, and I hope you also enjoy the podcast. Or don't enjoy the podcast. Just do whatever makes you happy. I like what my friends have to say.
Yeah.
Or say what the hell's up. Like, you got your EDM fucking
Oh,
DJ.
don't call it that. Don't call it EDM.
You're DJing. I won't call it EDM. Sorry. Stricken from the record.
It's just overblown and overused. Because when I started doing this, I mean, it wasn't that long ago. It was maybe I don't know, 8-9 years ago, maybe 8. And even then, it wasn't as commercialized as it is now. I mean, you had big festivals like Tomorrowland and Ultra and stuff like that, But it feels like it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And, for me, I used to be into stuff like dubstep. But I went through a whole phase. And I still listen to everything. I can't tell you I have a specific favorite genre. I can tell you I have a favorite subgenre.
Yeah.
When it comes to electronic music, it's drum and bass.
Yeah.
Which I call IDM, or intelligent dance music. That EDM shit is I loved it when I was 22 years old and eating Molly and jumping up and down.
Once the shit wore off, it's what the fuck?
I mean, at its basis, all music is repetitive, but when it comes to electronic stuff, it's very repetitive, stuff like that. So, I was into, trance and house because when I first got into it, I was, at the ass end of a bad relationship. So I got into it for the community, which I thought was really great. They wanted to, there's this whole thing plur, which is peace, love, unity, and respect. So it still had a sense of wonderment to me then, and I was going to shows every weekend for fucking 2 years straight. And then I went and took out a $3,000 personal loan and flew down to Florida for Ultra Miami.
Oh, shit.
I spent $3,000 in about 3 days.
Damn.
Yeah. Gone.
Hey, fuck it. You only live once, right?
You know what? I ended up paying about half of that loan back, and then I used it again to go to Europe with Emily 2 years ago now. I think it's going on almost 3 years now.
Nice.
But, we're going back to Europe the end of May, so that's a bitch to save for though. I live alone now, so I pay for everything by myself. So it's every penny that I get is going towards fucking paying for this trip.
That makes it all. I think that probably makes it all the more sweeter.
The trip was kind of a surprise, and I elected not to know what we're doing or where we're going. Oh. So I'm literally going to get on a plane to fly to Europe, and I have no idea where we're going, what countries we're going into. I have no idea.
That's awesome.
Total surprise.
Can I use her name on this? Because if not, I'm gonna have to bleep it out.
Sure. Yeah.
If she's all right.
Yeah. She won't care.
All right. Yeah. Normally I'm just my friend or my associate or partner in crime or something. Yeah. My associates. Yeah. We were down by the dock with my associates, and we had to whack something. Definitely not a guy. Definitely was not thrown in the river, but me and my associates. It was good times. That's all good. I got, I'm not at the following point where I have to really worry about
anything.
Can I
have one more then?
Oh, yeah. Here you go. I can't believe I don't have a fucking lighter. This is...
It's okay. I mean, matches work, right? That's what they're for.
Did I give you the matches?
Did I pocket them?
Possibly.
Maybe I do. Yeah, I lit yours, and then...
Oh, hold on. Here they are.
Aha.
See them.
Hiding from us.
Fucking cat eyes over here. Unless I take my contacts out, then I'm mole eyes. Can't see shit. Like 10 minutes of
You gotta turn it upside down and let it catch first.
10 minutes of videotaping burnt on trying to light
There you
cigarettes.
All right. I got a toast for you.
Word.
Here's to friends. Here's to honor. If you can't come in her, come on her.
Hell yeah. I'll drink to that.
So, what have you been up to besides working?
Besides working?
And doing this.
Literally this. I mean, I had to YouTube the fuck out of this, just figuring out
How to do everything?
how to do everything. Today I actually finally uploaded my last podcast I did with my buddy Tyler Travis, who plays bass in Eternal Frequency. That's a rock band.
Okay.
And I took time to actually edit this time, so there's more fun to be held with it, a little bit more pride in it, we'll put it that way.
Okay.
So, but that took me a while to learn all that stuff, I'm not intellectual of sorts when it comes to this stuff.
What, just technology?
That too,
I used it a lot when I was younger, but the older I got, realized technology costs fucking money.
Oh, I probably have easily $500 sunk into this right now.
Wow.
Maybe. Almost 500, because I got a camera. I got a second one, which I haven't even figured out how to do the 2-camera system, 3-camera system, the mic, the computer, which I got for a very decent price from a very good friend, and then the programming itself, and even the programming for music, because you got to have royalties and stuff, so it's like...
You gotta make sure you're using stuff that's like free. Like fair
am I gonna
use.
try and get the free fucking download with, pop-ups and all that shit, and then also, like, for instance, the last video, because my buddy's telling me about some of his music videos and stuff that he's playing in, I have that pop up, so I gotta find a downloader that I can pay for that I can download stuff, and YouTube's not like, what the fuck, know?
Yeah.
So, but it's even for a hobby, like, people are like, find a hobby. I'm like, it costs money. If you want to do your hobby right, or do your work right, or your film right, like, it all costs money.
Oh, dude, you know how many fucking hobbies I have? So, like, this is why I tend to sort of lean in the side of, like, eccentricity. I think I'm a little eccentric when it comes to stuff, but I think it's mostly because I've got really bad ADHD.
Dude, I love it. I love seeing your like the surfing thing. I was like, this motherfucker's crazy right now, like out there. How was that?
I fucking it was good. I was doing it in like the fall, which isn't bad, really. With those wetsuits on, like it's really not as bad as you might think.
You gotta like powder up to get in them or something.
No. Honestly, maybe that would be easier getting in them, but I need to get my own because I was borrowing some the last time. But I do a lot of different shit, man. So I just started learning surfing. I've been snowboarding for like 18 years. Let's see what else. Like beginning to learn photography, backpacking. I play paintball. I'm a DJ, learning to be a producer. So there's like, I'm learning to whittle. Like I have all these fucking hobbies, man. And it's like, I'll start on something, I'll get super interested in it, I'll hyper focus on it for a while, and then I'll lose interest. But I keep the stuff that I've accumulated, and I'll go back to it at a different time. But that's kind of why like I tried to get out of music as like a career, because like I used to really love cars. When I worked with you, I was really into them. I had Skunky's Mark II GTI, and I had that TT and shit. So like I used to be into that, and then like my grandmother, like, I guess inherited some money from some relative who passed, was paying for, like, my family members, like, college, or at least giving them money towards it, so, like, my cousins and stuff. So, like, I reached a certain age, I was, like, 2 years out of high school, and she gave me, like, some ultimatum. It's like, okay, you have to choose what you want to do, or you're not going to get anything. So at the time, I was into cars. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll do this. And the second I started going to school for it, it like killed the love and the passion for it, and it turned it into a job that I had to work really hard at every day. And if I didn't work hard at it, that I wouldn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, like the people at UTI like drew me in, saying, "Oh, well, you know, you can go into our Porsche program and do this." But you know what they don't fucking tell you is that you got to be like top of your class in the fucking country.
Yeah.
You know how many UTIs there are across the United States. Like you got to be in the top of your class in your school, and then be on par with everybody else in order to make it into those programs. And even then,
and you should know better going to a school that's UTI.
Well, I was young.
UTI in itself this is a big red flag.
This is before all the lawsuits and everything, man. This is before any of that. I had no idea. I was young. You know, I felt like I was forced to go into something. You know, I ended up dropping out, and I honestly, dude, like I haven't really touched a car since. I went and like I sold my dad my Audi, and I bought this Toyota Camry, and I've been driving that since. I haven't modded a car or installed a sound system or done anything other than regular maintenance to my vehicle since I fucking got it.
Gotcha.
And it's been a couple years, you know.
Well, to be honest, man, I mean, like I talk a lot of shit and look like I'm a big boss when it comes to like vehicles. So I'm toting my bow tie boy all day and shit. But I hate working on my truck. I hate it. Like, once I get to the point financially where I don't have to worry about that shit, I have a vehicle, I'm taking it to the shop, being like, give me that fucking Corvette for the day.
It's only because you were young, you know, and you had the time.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Now, as an adult, it's like you got everything from a job and, like a social group or other responsibilities. You know, like a job in itself is exhausting. Like when you're done with your day, it's like who the fuck wants to like go spend 4 hours working on a car, you know?
Yeah.
In whatever temperature it is that day, you know?
Exactly.
Like if it's summer, you could be sweating your balls off after you just sweat your ass off at work. Who wants to come home and do that, you know?
And I got the shop, you know, I got that big ass fucking heater up there, which I don't have on right now because it's loud. It's a noise monster and people have had some complaints. They've had some complaints about the noise volume and the background noise with the fan. But I have it off, so we're gonna freeze our dicks off. Our balls are in our bodies right now, just for you. So you better give me kisses, you fucking sluts. So there's that. I gotta treat my audience better. Fuck.
You can't just insult them all the time.
I can't. I love you guys. Kisses, you know. Fuck those motherfuckers. Anyway. That's how I've always started it. That's how I started my podcast. It was completely, we're talking shit, and fuck you for listening. So fuck you for listening. Thank you, but fuck you for listening to this. So... That's how we go. You gotta give them some abuse.
That's the new thing now, huh?
It is the new thing. It's just... No. God forbid this thing gets famous, and then somebody's like, did you hear what he said in the other podcast? And I'm like, did you not see the... Don't watch this?
They're gonna do what they did to Joe Rogan, and they're gonna like put together a compilation of you saying terrible shit, and they're gonna post you on Twitter, and the whole world's gonna be against you.
It's crazy.
Or at least angry douchebags on Twitter.
Dude... I don't think I've ever met somebody who doesn't like... Actually, I have, but they've been women, and they don't really count. I mean, let's be honest.
What, Twitter? Oh, it's like a gossip thing. I mean, twat, you know, like...
Yeah, like, yeah. No, alright, you count, ladies. You count. I love you. Kisses.
They still don't have to register for the draft.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, they don't?
No.
Oh, fuck them.
It's only men.
Fuck them. All right, okay. Makes sense.
So if we go to war with Russia, you and me, we're on our way.
We're fucked. Yeah, we're on that boat. We're heading out. Oh, God. Can you imagine that? That would be so fucked. Like, any superpower, because it's like one thing when it's like you're fighting, you know, sheep herders in the desert, and they got, like, old... AK-47s.
Well, they fought off the Soviet Union, and they fought off the United States. So, you know,
which may say something.
That's one of those arguments that, you know, people were like, oh, why do you need an AR-15? You know? Like, there's no way you could fight off a government with fucking drones. Like, what do you mean? A bunch of guys in the desert and old fucking AK-47s from the 70s are
literally just
fucking doing it.
Twice.
With two of the world's largest superpowers. Two superpowers that were at each other's throats. for a decade, multiple decades. You know,
it's ridiculous. I mean, like the land terrain is not hospitable. It's kind of like Vietnam.
Well, it's a different kind of warfare. So, like, if you look at all the different years of different wars that have happened, it's what they call, I think it's like fourth generation warfare. So, I mean, you started with like just two lines of people hacking each other with swords, you know, and as the distance to kill increased, you know, then you see like what happened in like the Revolutionary War, where they're standing in line shooting at each other like idiots.
Yeah.
You know, and then the Civil War happened where, you know, you had more accurate firearms that could be reloaded faster. You know, you had the breech loading firearms and stuff. So the deaths of those people was insane. And then you have World War One, which was even worse. Yeah. It was literally a slaughterhouse.
The fucking trench warfare was, and the mustard gas that they introduced.
It's the first like major war where they had machine guns and tanks and poison gas.
Dude, imagine being like a soldier in the trenches. And, like, you hear rumbling, and all of a sudden that old World War I tank just fucking over your fucking trench. Like, how much you must have been shitting bricks when that happened.
I mean, it was fucking scary, man. I mean, I wouldn't want to have fought in that war. And then World War II was like... I mean, that's when they... You know, at the end of World War II is when they discovered the atomic bomb and everything. Which is, you know, like... The Nazis were trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, like they were actively trying to, you know, research it, you know. And then you had like those SAS units and the people in Norway that destroyed their heavy water plants and stuff, where they were trying to create heavy water for your uranium and stuff. So, I mean, and then now you have modern warfare where like you literally kill people from an office in Washington, you know, on a computer. You know? So it's
just crazy, man. Like, we can all blow each other up at this point. I think we should like figure out how to get the fuck along. Maybe be like, ooh, our sun is gonna. If everything on Earth doesn't fuck up, like if we don't fuck up Earth, even if we clean up Earth to the point where we can go down to the stream and drink out of the water and not get infected. Type sort of deal. If we get that good with the Earth, the sun's still gonna die at some point.
I mean, it could be millions
of years possibly, you know, or it could burp and wipe us out.
Oh yeah, solar flare would cook us like a fucking...
flare will just cook all of us like a motherfucker.
I think that would be so ironic and funny. You know. Like, what if we spend the next 2 decades, like, trying to clean up Earth, you know, and we succeed, you know?
Like, world peace!
Yeah, world peace, everyone's
like,
happy.
What's that really shiny?
Solar flare!
It's a little shinier than normal. It's turning red, and...
Well, that's why, you know, we have people like Elon Musk that are trying to save the human race. But, you know, I feel like too often he is lumped into that group of billionaires that are just evil human beings,
Which
you know?
is ridiculous. I always hated that phrase, eat the rich. And
tax
the rich. I'm like,
no. Taxation is theft, my friend.
Exactly.
Period.
A, taxation is fucking theft, you fucking morons. And B is this. Why would you want to tax the rich if you yourself want to become rich? Why are you trying to handicap something you want to be part of? It's like
shooting yourself in the foot before climbing a ladder.
Pretty much. It's like those guys that made it to the top of the mountain, charge them $10. And now shoot me in the fucking foot and let me walk.
Well, you know, that's the problem. It's like the highest like tax bracket is what if you make over what like $400,000. It's like that's not the fucking billionaire class like these idiot socialists in politics want to tell us. Yeah. No, that's the middle class. Like people making less than $1 million a year.
Exactly.
You know, like that's not obscenely rich. You know, but they're the ones getting hit with all these fucking taxes. Yeah. Now, granted, like a lot of people just don't know how to use the tax system. There's so many loopholes and stuff like that, and people dog the rich for that. But it's like those systems are in place.
Exactly.
You know, use them yourself. Learn how to use them. That's the biggest hurdle when it comes to like young children, especially inner city kids, kids of minorities, stuff like that. They're not learning how to manage finances, like how to grow wealth. They aren't learning that shit. I mean, fucking the public school system as a whole is disgusting these days. The shit they teach you is so irrelevant. Like, why aren't you learning about civics and the tax system, like, more in depth, you know? Like, why aren't you learning how to balance checkbooks and change tires? Why aren't you learning, like...
They don't teach them how to survive. They teach them how to comply.
Yeah, well,
Comply,
they're
not
indoctrinating
survive.
them.
Yeah.
You know, like, and now you have these people in some, you know, liberal Clinton archipelagos that are, you know, major cities. They're like, oh, you know, parents, you know, shouldn't, you know, have control over what their kids are learning. It's like, are you fucking kidding?
It's like the worst. That is like the evilest thing.
It's
Like,
indoctrination.
indoctrination is like, whenever I hear politicians being like, or anybody, not even politicians, just the regular average Joe that says, well, it's to protect the kids. I'm like, are you...
That's virtue signaling.
Yeah, you're virtual
Oh,
signaling.
look, give me clout because I care about kids
I care about
on the internet.
kids,
Like,
which is creepy. It is creepy to have somebody who's like 50 years...
They don't give a
50
shit.
years old trying to run the nation. Well, at this point, 70, 80 years old, 90 years old, 115, whatever our president is now. Being like, I care about the children. They smell so good. Type
Yeah, I was going to make a sniffing joke.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, it's creepy. It's like, why are you focusing on the kids? If you're a politician, don't say, I care about the kids or I'm focusing on the kids. Let the parents do that. Let the people that pop them out.
Well, that's what they're
that made
supposed to
them
be
focus
doing.
on
Like,
it.
you know, my generation, the millennial generation, is the helicopter parenting thing. You know, like even my parents, you know, they kept me in activities to keep me busy, you know, like as a child, you know, and now it's like parents are so hands off, you know, like what's going on in schools is, it really bothers me. It makes me not want to have children.
Oh, 100%.
Oh,
Same here.
before I forget, let's go, Brandon. Before I lose it from my mind and I forget to say it. I just stopped to get gas on the way up here. It's almost $4 a gallon.
Oh, my God.
It was like $3.79 or something, like almost $3.80.
I don't understand why everything is so high priced. 18-wheeler costs a lot to fill up to send you a shipment of guacamole and bananas, you know?
Oh, and you see what's going on in Canada right now. The fucking police are now seizing fuel and food and water from people trying to supply to the protesters.
Oh my God.
They're seizing it from them as a way to try and stop them. Even the media is reporting on it in a weird way. Like, they're trying to say it's all white supremacists and bullshit, you know? Because, like, one guy, like, there's a picture or something with a Nazi flag. But what these idiots don't know is on that flag was a picture of Justin Trudeau. And they were calling him a Nazi for his fucking vaccine mandates. But, you know, the media doesn't want to show you that. They just show you the reverse side and say, look, white supremacists, fucking domestic terrorists. They just had some fucking crazy leftist, like, anarchist kill somebody at the protest in Canada. He ran somebody over. Now it's in the media, at least in the independent media, that he was, you know, I mean, there was that guy after the Rittenhouse trial that fucking, like killed how many fucking people, including children. And the media refused to call him a fucking terrorist.
It's ridiculous. And that's the lovely thing about how guns are so evil. When I can go down to Home Depot and rent a truck for $20, and I can get a kill streak.
That's
with
what
it,
people don't get. You go to places that don't have fucking guns, and you still have people that are still. I mean, Britain, knife crime. The amount of people who get stabbed in Britain is ridiculous.
Did you see the angel that they made? They made an angel out of knives. This artist did, from knives that were confiscated through stabbing assaults. This angel with the wingspan and all, made out of knives. It's like 15 feet tall. I forget how wide the wing gap is for it, but it's like, yeah. I would rather, you know, have a gun put to my head than and be like, hey, give me your money. And somebody coming up to me and shink, 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 and taking my money.
That's another thing. 60% of all the burglaries in the UK are actually hot burglaries. So that means people are breaking into your home while you're fucking there.
Yeah.
I promise you, if you try that here, I'm gonna fucking blow you full of buckshot. All right, you're not gonna break into my fucking house while I'm home and not end up dead.
Exactly.
You know, you're not breaking into my fucking house. And you know, like I've like heard all the arguments. You know, people give me shit. Oh, you care more about your objects and your possessions than you do human life. It's like, is their life worth stealing my TV?
Exactly.
No, it's not.
No,
it's not.
And not only that, but it's like, fucking the whole pacifist thing with that. Like, the people that say that never watched Clockwork Orange. Have you ever watched that movie?
Yes.
That one part where the guy's breaking into that dude's home and in front of him, the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
I stopped the movie after that. I couldn't watch it after that.
Oh,
Like,
it gets so
I
much
can't
crazier.
I was like, I can't watch this shit. Like, really, like, after that shit. But I'm like, that in itself should be every fucking reason why you want a fucking gun.
Well, that, and you have these fucking nut jobs that want to go and shoot up places. You know, what people don't understand is people like me, with my concealed carry permit and my 1911, I'm the wolf in sheep's clothing. When I go in somewhere like a bar or to a restaurant or, you know, somewhere, you know, if some douchebag tries to come in there and start shooting the place up,
Yeah.
I'm the one that's going to protect anybody. I refuse to die huddled up in a corner begging for my life. All right? If I'm going to fucking die, I'm going to die on my feet. I'm going to die fighting back.
Exactly.
And people don't get that, you know. It's just that they call it American arrogance, or you know, violent tendencies, or you know.
That's Australian people were saying that 2 years ago.
Look at what the fucking Australian
And now
government
look
is
at
doing to
them.
them. They're putting them in
Exactly.
fucking gulags. They're not allowed to leave their fucking homes. People
Yeah.
are being arrested taking a walk in the park.
Yeah.
And people are like, "Oh, guns are so bad." Like, look at all the cultures in society today, the modern cultures that don't have guns.
Yeah, they're
See
fucked.
what the fucking government is doing to them. Fucking Trudeau literally said that the people that are not with the narrative of the government, they have undesirable opinions.
Yeah.
You know, how the fuck can you say that about? And he calls them a fringe minority. That's bullshit.
That's bullshit, and it's like you can't see how evil that motherfucker is
Yeah.
saying that stuff. And it's like I've had people ask me because they think I'm a rootin' tootin' cowboy of some sort, which I ain't at all. But I'm like, well, is it better to carry it like out or in? I'm like, always
Concealed.
carry it concealed, man.
You don't want to project that.
You don't want to project it because you're going to be the number one target.
Yeah.
And for any of you crazy motherfuckers that listen to this, is if you have a gun, it doesn't. Even if you have one, it don't matter that you have one unless you train with it, because training is the most important part with
You
that.
need the
It's-
muscle memory. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, you know, I have an oven, but I never used it. But whenever I want to cook something,
Yeah.
type sort of thing,
Yeah.
you know, like
Never use an oven in your life and then go and try and bake.
you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, it's a crazy thing, man. But I love it. I love this fucking conversation.
Dude, I used
All
to
of
be
the stuff.
I used to be so much worse. I voted for Trump the first time because I thought he was like a political outsider, you know, and I won't deny there are good things he did. You know, I did like the fact I loved and I hated the fact that he could like say shit on Twitter and like just he was like an open book. If he thought something, he was saying it.
Yeah.
You know? So like he might have been batshit crazy and some of the stuff he said would be, you know, undesirable. Yeah. But at the same time, you knew what the fuck he was thinking about.
Yeah, that's
you know?
every human being if you broke them down into what they think or
but
say.
then you see what's going on with like the Biden administration right now. That bitch Jen Psaki, if you see this, you're a fucking cunt. I hate you.
Yes, fuck you to death.
I've literally watched her lie to the press corps on national television over and over and over to cover shit up, you know. And I'm sure Kayleigh McEnany did that shit too. You know, like you gotta play damage control when it comes to politics. But some of the stuff that she has done is like almost unforgivable in my eyes. But you know, the older I get, the more I'm sort of like, okay, like if Trump were to run, I didn't vote for him in the last election. I voted for Joe Jorgensen.
I wanted to.
But you know,
I wanted to, but here's the reason why I didn't. I voted for Trump in the second one because the problem was her name. Because there's Joe Biden and then there's Joe Jorgensen. And me and you are smart enough to figure out the difference, but most people aren't.
yeah,
And that was the problem. If she had a different name, I think she would have won.
yeah.
Possibly could have won.
No, dude, actually, you know, she actually got one of the lowest percentages
Oh, really?
in libertarian, in like she got the lowest vote percentage of any libertarian in like the last 10 years or something like that. Like she got like 3% of the vote, which libertarians are usually solid around like 10 or 11%.
Well, everybody either A, wanted Trump in or B, wanted
Well,
him
it
out.
was a get Trump out of office election. That was the whole fucking point of it. You know, like at that point, I wasn't really happy with him in some ways, you know, so I didn't want to vote for him, but I sure as fuck wasn't voting for Joe Biden.
Yeah.
There's no way. And now what
we
he's
see
done,
why we didn't want to vote for him.
Purely what he did in Afghanistan. I'm sorry, but that was like it was worse than Vietnam.
Oh,
you know,
100% worse.
All the people stuck behind enemy lines, the fucking 12 or 13 Marines blown up in a suicide bomb they knew was fucking coming. They knew they were planning it. And he killed, and that person killed 100, at least 100 innocent people.
Yeah.
You know, there's those fucking videos of those C-47s taking off and people literally falling to their deaths hanging onto the fucking landing gear.
It's raining men, hallelujah. You know,
the Trump administration had this whole plan set out for how they were to remove everything. They were going to remove all the equipment, and then all of the vehicles, and then all of the unnecessary staff, non-military staff. Like there was literally a whole fucking plan written out. And what did the Biden administration do? They fucking tossed it out, left everything behind, billions of dollars worth of fucking military equipment, and now belongs to the fucking Taliban.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know how, he did not lose more of the country doing that. You know, I drive down the road and I see people with Biden-Harris stickers on their fucking car, and I'm like, are you a fucking moron? Yeah. Are you really that blinded?
And the military don't respect him.
No, because he's a piece of shit. He called them fucking bastards or something in one of those speeches he gave.
He's
like, you better clap for that, you fucking bastards. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding?
Yeah, he's one...
He got Americans killed.
He's one bad babble away from his security team turning the other way, type sort of thing. It's ridiculous.
He's already not there, man.
But imagine...
He's fucking senile.
Yeah, but imagine being, doing 4 tours. And fourth tour, it's you got one of your legs blown off. You got PTSD from shooting a couple of kids that got C4 strapped to them and stuff. And then all of a sudden, he does that shit. And I'm like, it kind of feels like time might be running out for the old man type sort of thing.
No, it's getting there. But what I really don't want is fucking Kamala Harris to be the president.
Yeah, that's the worst thing, too.
She has, one of the worst approval ratings of any vice president in U.S. history.
It's crazy.
Which is... I mean, just listen to that cackle of hers. I mean, how can you like that? Like that person, like that fake laugh that she does.
It's ridiculous.
And she did this fucking advertisement for talking about the space program or something. It was with a bunch of kids or whatever that were asking her questions. Later you find out the whole thing was fucking set up. Every child in that video was a fucking actor.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it would have been if it was real children, they'd been why do I feel a sense of satanic evilness around you? Is what real kids would have said. Real kids would be get that fucking creepy away from me. She's evil.
Yeah, I think normal kids would not be as interested in what she had to say. But
no,
I mean, she only got to where she is being on her knees anyway. So.
Exactly. This is true.
I'm sorry for the ladies out there. It was not meant to be misogynistic.
Yeah. Well, some ladies have hurt their knees for good reasons, and we appreciate that.
Oh yeah, you ladies, you're the MVPs.
MVPs in our book. Demonetized.
I used to be way too obsessed with politics.
I
became almost... I was a self-described boogaloo boy for a while.
Nice.
That's why I got my old Facebook banned off Facebook.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I got banned for sharing memes about throwing communists out of helicopters. And,
God forbid.
You're punching Nazis. And
oh, my God.
It's so funny. It's some of these extremists that are anti-government, it's if we could just sort of, if they weren't just lazy bastards that didn't want to work or something, I think maybe we get along a little more, because neither of us like the government or the systems that are in place, but I just want to be fucking left alone, and the other side wants to do nothing but be involved in my life.
Yeah,
they want their hand in my fucking pocket, and they want to take care of people that want to be a burden or a ward of the state, and I get it, there's...
I mean, they print the money. They make fake money so they can give government cheese out as long as they
Well, they
know
did,
that
and
they're-
you saw what it did. I was a victim of it myself. When I got laid off from my job in Philadelphia, and my girl and I split up, and I moved back home, I was, getting all that free money, and of course I didn't want to fucking go back to work.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, and even with my opinions, like it got to the point like 4 months before they September, like when they ended everything, I started looking for a job. I was like, I can't. Like, I don't know if they were going to re-up it again and start giving people more money. It's just, like, my own moral opinions were like, okay, like, I can't... Like, I paid for private health care while I was unemployed.
Oh, wow.
I was using that money that I was getting, and I was paying for health care. I could have got free health care from the state or, whatever. But, I care about that because I pay into that. I pay fucking taxes into that. My parents pay taxes into that shit, I paid taxes. I've only ever had, like, one under the table job in my whole career since I started working. I've paid into taxes my whole fucking life. And then, I figure out something like Social Security, which I've been paying into since I was 18 fucking years old, is going to run out before I'm 35.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if it's something small, like, okay, I'm not just taking money from the government and getting free health care, I'm paying for my health insurance. I mean, like, just that was, like, made me feel better about it. Like, but some people don't care. They have no shame.
Oh yeah. This is true. That's a lot.
I lived in Philadelphia for 2 years, man, and let me tell you, there's people that just pop out kids because they know they're going to get more money from the fucking government or the welfare office.
Right.
And one of the biggest problems plaguing like the minority community, for example, is the single motherhood rate.
Oh yeah.
It's over
ridiculous.
70%.
It's crazy.
And you wonder why these kids are growing up to be more violent or going to prison or doing things that are illegal and not going into STEM fields and becoming doctors, and I blame the government for that as well. I mean, when I just blame the whole welfare system as a whole. I mean, when a welfare was created, the original purpose was a job fair.
Yeah.
And then when no one fucking showed up, they just started to write checks for everybody, and they've expanded on that system, and now they want to do nothing but expand it. Now they want socialized healthcare for the whole United States. And
Which sounds good, but have you been to a DMV and you're like, the government can't run that?
they can't fix the fucking roads, Dick.
Exactly.
So why do they think they can run all of healthcare? Like people use like those northern European countries as their example. Like, oh, look how great they are. They're a socialist state, And then you have the fucking Denmark and Swedish government releasing statements saying we're not fucking socialist. Like we have, like if you have a socialized healthcare system, I mean, I'm not entirely opposed to that. Like the idea with Obamacare was probably going in the right direction. What I didn't like is how if you didn't have health insurance, the government was going to fucking fine you.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Because you made too much money to get the free shit and not enough money to pay for it privately. So then Obama was fining you $700 every month until you got fucking insurance.
Which is totally fucked.
Yeah.
If they did away with that, it would have been fine. So I get you on that, man. It's so fucking ridiculous how...
I think they need to stop trying to do things federally as an entire country because we are not a democracy. The United States is not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. All right? Now, the states are democracies. Each individual state is like a fucking country. They have more power than the federal government. They have more power. It's in the Constitution that states' rights are above everything else. That's why, when Texas passed their, heartbeat law and stuff, the federal government could do nothing about it. Yeah. And people get mad about that shit too. But it's like you have to realize when that was instated, it was on a ballot and people fucking voted for it. The majority voted for it. Yeah. So it was enacted. That's democracy. And people are talking about the abortion of democracy and like how like, oh, it's undemocratic. And it's like you people don't even understand the country that you fucking live in to begin with.
Yeah. They probably just did that to keep the Californians out, probably. Would be my suspect.
Well, I mean, they have been moving there in droves.
Yeah, this is true.
California is being abandoned like a sinking ship.
Yeah, 100%. But these people, these rats from this sinking ship are going to go to another ship and chew holes through it.
Well, that's what they're doing, Yeah. And then you have like what the Biden administration is doing with a lot of these immigrants from Mexico and South America. They're putting them on planes and then dropping them off in random places across the United States. There's video of them doing it. Damn. There's like border security agents, like there's videos of them talking about it. Like how, what they're doing is importing voters.
Yeah.
So
pretty much.
I've heard this before.
You give them some cheese, and they'll give you a light.
I don't mean see, the thing is, if they were all coming from places like Venezuela or Cuba, you talk to Cubans in Florida,
there. They know what the hell's going on.
They are ardently against socialism because they've seen it. People from Venezuela have seen the lines for fucking toilet paper because the government controls all the wealth.
Yes.
You know, and we still have these idiotic Americans that are like typical communists. Oh, well, it's just it's never been tried properly. It's not real communism. It's not real socialism. They put democratic in front of it now to make it sound like it's this wonderful thing. Oh, it's democratic socialism. It's not communism, you know.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And then you have these, college kids. Colleges in general are becoming like indoctrination machines.
Right. Well, they're fucked because anyone that like works at a college that's a professor and all that, most professors, they are in their own bubble.
That's because in the 70s they were the fucking hippies in the 70s. That counterculture. They got all wrapped up in Karl Marx, and now they're fucking teaching children, Like colleges used to be a bastion of free thought. Like
exactly.
you went somewhere, like say for example, you had some kind of class and you had to write some kind of opinion piece about something. You had to choose a topic.
You're free to write your own opinion.
Yes, but not today.
If you write your own opinion now and it doesn't suit them, you're expelled.
If you have a different opinion than everyone else in your class, you're ostracized, you're bullied, you could be fucking murdered.
Which is crazy.
That's scary.
It's scary as fuck.
My sister went to college, and she was never into politics or anything like that. And while she was in college, I noticed her opinion started to change about certain things. The election in 2016, when I voted for Trump and she voted for Hillary Clinton, we had an argument in the car on the way down there, and she physically cried because of the argument that we had. Yeah. And there's been multiple times where we've had political arguments where my sister has cried because of it. And I'm like, I feel bad for doing that. I'm not heartless.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like I feel like the stuff she was exposed to and the opinions that were shoved down her throat have sort of conditioned her to feel a certain way. I mean, I went through the same thing. I didn't give a fuck about politics. And when I was college age, when I was getting to that age, I used to be a Bernie bro.
Yeah.
Before I ever voted for Trump, I was a Bernie bro.
Oh, yeah.
And then, I started to do more research and into the opinions that he wanted, and I don't know. I did a 180, and I realized I had influential people in my life that were like, no, that's not how this is, because
you saw the icing on the cake and they seen the turd underneath type something.
Well,
I liked Bernie. For
out of all the people
the icing, I liked Bernie for the icing.
Out of all the people that have run for the presidency, I feel like he's been shafted a lot.
Yeah, But the thing is, what made me lose respect is every time he's been shafted, he automatically licks their feet.
Well, that's almost everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw what just use Joe Rogan's all that bullshit surrounding him recently. Okay, you had people like The Rock, which not too far beforehand were like, oh, he's a cool guy, this isn't him, I can't wait to be on your show. And then some fucking douchebag spent 6 months of his life doing nothing but watching Joe Rogan and all the shit that he's ever done, and took a bunch of recordings of him saying shit out of context. Yeah. And now all of a sudden all these people are backtracking.
Oh, of course.
They're just abandoning their friend, Yeah.
Which is the funny thing is with that, kind of ironically, when it comes to Rogan, because I love Rogan. I'm a Rogan.
Well, so do I. He gives a platform to everybody. Yeah. He's had people from both sides of the aisle on his show, and people don't give him that credit.
And he's going to be fine either way.
Yeah, of course.
Because it's kind of like the Louis C.K. thing. Because, Louis C.K. hasn't said it outrightly, but, what I personally feel happen when I see between the lines is, because it's he's a great comedian, and so is Joe Rogan. And he's talking about, in his last special that came out, I actually paid for it. You have to pay for it, but the fans will pay for it. He's talking about all of his cool friends that are cool kind of left him, which is all right. Rogan's really not said anything about it, so it's okay, he maybe hasn't brought that stuff up because it's too hot or whatever. But it's this stuff happens, and people kind of take a step back, or they completely fold, like The Rock completely folded and everything.
That's the thing.
Which is crazy because it's The Rock. You're dude, come on, you're the biggest motherfucker on this planet, and you folded because of what some, people said.
Well, see, this is what bothers me, because these groups that claim to be so marginalized and oppressed have like the most power in this society. You could ruin someone's fucking life, ruin their career, ruin everything.
They get a kick out of that. That's a weak people, weak men. Give weak men power? It's disastrous.
I think that's a big problem in today's society. People think that me wishing that men were stronger is some kind of misogynistic take. But I mean, even Rogan said, like, weak men make a weak society. We don't have to be misogynistic douchebags that want to own women in order to be strong men. We can adapt with changes in culture, but what they're doing is they're minimizing the male existence.
It's ridiculous.
We kill ourselves in like 2 or 3 times the rate that women do. We work twice as hard, twice as long.
Yeah. And not to mention with strong men, when it comes to the misogynistic part, like a strong motherfucking man really does not get upset about the opinions that a woman says to him. He's like, all right, that's what you said. Well, that's cool that you said that, and I listened to what you said, but I don't agree on it, and this is what I'm going to do. And that's not an evil thing. It's a man being a man. Like, if a woman says something to a man,
but they want to blur the
man,
line between all of that these days. Like they're saying there is no like male and female, that it's all just some kind of social fucking construct. Now, that may be a fringe minority of people. It might not be a shitload of people that are down with that. Honestly, me personally, I don't care if someone is trans.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Like, if I'm at a bar or a club,
I've had friends that are like that.
And there's some beautiful tranny there that's getting the shit kicked out of her by some dudes because she went into the boys' bathroom. It's like, I'm gonna fucking rock them motherfuckers. I'm
gonna put my pistol in their mouth. You don't do that to people.
Exactly. You don't hurt people.
You're allowed to live your life however you see fit. That is the point of freedom and liberty. That is the point. As long as you're not restricting or hurting anyone else.
Yeah.
What I don't like is how they say I have to conform to their view of society.
Yeah.
To their view of gender.
I must tell you that you're a they.
I can be
or whatever. It's like, no, I don't need to do that.
You can be morally respectable to somebody. I'm not going to be a prick to someone's face.
Yeah.
But you can't force me under the law. And like in Canada, if you were to misgender someone, you could face fines and even jail time.
Yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong on so many levels.
That Jordan Peterson guy got into so much shit because of that. But it wasn't because he was anti-trans. It was because he's trying to prove a point that we have rights and those rights need to be upheld. You can't just change something because someone feels offended.
Yeah, it's like if I'm like, all right, from now on you're going to call me Sugar Plum Buttercup. And if you don't, hope you like
then
jail.
you're going to go to fucking jail. We're going to put you in the gulag.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what are you... That's insanity.
You have every right to believe what you believe, but I have every right to believe what I believe. You cannot tell people in a free society that your opinion is undesirable. Your opinion is not good. You are not worth the dirt on my shoe. You can't say that because someone has a different opinion than you. And that's the biggest problem. Like me, I got fucking banned off Facebook because I would say something and it's like people would come out of the woodwork, insulting me, calling me a fucking idiot, like minimizing my opinion and my existence.
Are they going to say that to your face in real life?
No, of course not.
That's the problem, too.
I have people that have,
Yeah, you have, but it's like,
But
does it matter even then? You see that and you're like, oh, you're so weak, I don't care.
Well, it's weird for me because I genuinely enjoy talking to people I disagree with. I don't like being stuck in an echo chamber where I just talk to people that agree with me. But that has lost its feet in today's society because you can't have intellectual discussions with people that have different opinions. You can't do it in college. You can't do it on the fucking internet. You can't literally talk about the dangers of a vaccine without being censored by the fucking government, and how people don't see the slippery slope that we are on is terrifying.
Yeah, we're going fast. We're slipping.
But you can't stop
fast.
the future. That's a fact. You're not going to stop the future from happening. But we were founded for a reason. Like for example, the founding fathers. All right, people seem to think they were all just evil, racist, white supremacists. But they don't realize, just as an example, okay? In the original draft of the Declaration of Independence, there is a clause that directly cites King George's use of slavery as a reason for the United States declaring independence from England. This is a fact. Any of you guys out there, look this up, the first clause, or the first draft of the Declaration of Independence. There is an entire clause that talks about King George's abduction of people from a different continent and then bringing them in bondage over to the United States. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, they owned slaves.
Yeah.
But what you don't know is they did try to free them. This is known as well. George Washington and Thomas Jefferson both tried to free their slaves. The problem was that there was laws in place at the time that prohibited them from doing that. The only way to free slaves was in your will. If you look up George Washington and Thomas Jefferson's will, their slaves are to be freed upon their deaths. The only reason the original draft of the Declaration of Independence didn't go through was because the southern states, whose economies relied heavily on slavery, if they were to say slavery is not a thing, we are not cool with this, like this is why we're leaving the United Kingdom, they could have had a rebellion, like the southern states could have become loyalists. Yeah. We could have lost the war, So practically it makes sense, but people do not give the founding fathers enough credit. I think they were a lot more enlightened than people think they were.
Oh, yeah.
I think, if for that time, slavery was normal.
Yeah.
For thousands of years, the word slave is derived from the word Slav. The Slavs are credited for being probably one of the first slaves. Some of the worst offenders of slavery in the world were the Middle East and Asia. And today in Asia, people are still in slavery.
Exactly.
And yet people want to be absorbed in stuff that happened how long ago that they were never alive to experience. Now, okay, if you talk about like what happened in the 70s and 80s with the civil rights movement, when it comes to Reagan's like war on drugs and stuff like that, I don't disagree with that kind of stuff. But, I think the Constitution was written, in the Declaration of Independence, were written in a specific way that was open to prevent, it had a system of checks and balances. That was the whole point of it.
I'm totally against the war on drugs, though.
Well, so am I.
100%.
I'm a libertarian. I think drugs should be, recreationally legal. I mean, if you want to regulate it, Yeah. But the problem is they've done that with like marijuana. But you go to a dispensary, me with my medical card, and I'm paying shitloads more than I would pay from my friend who's got it,
Exactly.
So, like, I get it, and I think it could be a nice source of like tax money. But at the same time, like, look at what's happening with places like Seattle and Los Angeles. Like they're more open about these drug laws now, and I lived in Philadelphia, man. Like, I couldn't walk to the fucking grocery store 4 blocks away without seeing syringes in the streets.
Yeah.
You'd walk into a strip mall where the grocery store is, and there's the big sign, that says "Shop Support Richmond," and there's like fucking used needles in the mulch, like laying under the sign.
Yeah.
There's ridiculous. People nodding out all down Kensington Avenue. So it's like, I understand, because like realistically as a libertarian, it's like the government has no say in what I do with my body, period.
Exactly.
Like whether
you can't get put in jail for, like, I got motor oil back here. I could drink a quart of motor oil. Probably kill me. Probably.
Yeah.
I could drink a quart of motor oil and drive my truck. Probably keel over at the seat and like fuck up a bunch of people, if I hit them. But it's fine. They're not going to charge me for that type sort of thing. But so you smoke a J and you get pulled over because you ran a red light or your tail light is out. All of a sudden, I smell marijuana in your truck, and fuck you, you're going to jail.
Yeah, and
all this other bullshit. It's ridiculous.
I do ardently disagree with a lot of that stuff. It is a tough discussion though, because like, I don't know if people should be selling heroin at the corner store,
no.
But where do you draw the line? That's the thing,
exactly.
So, but I do fervently believe that I can do whatever the fuck I want with my body. I can put whatever the fuck I want in it, even though I'm personally I'm pro-life, if I don't know, I don't want to say that like,
if a woman is going down the wrong street and something really bad happens to her and she doesn't want that kid, by all means, she shouldn't have that
You should
kid.
have the right to do that.
Exactly.
Because if you do, that the consequences of that action are on you. It is free
Exactly.
will. The government should not be able to say, oh, hey, you can't do this, you can't do
Exactly.
that. Now, I know conservatives that feel differently about that. I was pretty conservative for a while, so I was very against abortion. I still kind of am. I don't
Okay.
think it should be used in the way that it is.
If it's, if it's one of them things where it's like, because I've had people that I'm close to be in the, and myself adopted and everything else, people in the foster care system and stuff, and it's like, the mom has one kid, sends it to foster care. I was like, oh, that wasn't so bad. And then they have 5 more kids. They send them all to foster care, and it's like, just putty up your front hole, ma'am. Stop this shit, like. And the thing is, that's another thing. Or like, if you try to, because I'm 30 now, and I'm probably gonna get snipped. So if you're watching this, ladies, and you want a kid by me, you better hurry the fuck up. But I'm probably gonna get snipped here soon.
Well, see,
So it's like-
that's another thing I want to touch on because I feel like when it comes to abortion and stuff like that, it's not that I want to stop abortion from happening because there are instances where it is necessary. I don't think the government should be telling you can't do that. But what I think should be more of a thing is accountability. I feel a large percentage of that falls on men.
Oh, 100%.
Just for example,
100%
birth
on men.
birth control as an example. Okay,
Condoms. It's like, oh, I don't want to put a condom on. It's like, dude, I put a condom on and pull out with a condom on, dude. Like, I don't fucking trust this shit even. Like, I pull out with a condom on. dude. Unless I love you. Unless I love you.
Personally, I'm not a fan of them. I feel like it's putting a
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them
bag on my dick.
either. I'm
But
not a
but at the
fan
same
either, but,
time,
like-
I am weighing the potential of possibly getting like a vasectomy because like what bothers me is why is there not more studies and information and funding that goes into possibly male birth control, like more successful and reversible vasectomies versus women on birth control, because birth control as a whole is relatively new. It's only like less than 100
and
years
it
old.
fucks women up.
Yeah, it's
Compared
the,
to a man, like, it'll fuck a man up too, I would
it
imagine.
fucks with everything.
But,
It is one of the largest experiments done on humans in history. It is a fucking experiment to see what happens.
But the thing is, it's like, if I try to get a vasectomy, I have to go through, it's not just I go into the doctor and be like, hey, snip this. It's like, they're going to talk to me.
You gotta pay for it yourself.
Psycho evaluation to make sure you really want this, all the other stuff. It's like, nah, come on. Just give it a snip. Just give it a snip. Title of this podcast. Just give it a snip.
But yeah, I do feel that more men should be responsible for that, especially like I said in like the single motherhood communities, which is skyrocketing. It doesn't matter what community. The African American community has it the worst. We think it's like over 70%, but it's also increasing in other communities. But I think that needs to be addressed. And some people would say, oh, well, that's the war on drugs and that's, putting too much people in prison and like...
I mean, they do have a point with that, but at the same time, I get the point with the war on drugs and everything where it's like they're just trying to
And things are lightening up, but I do believe that someone should not be in prison for nonviolent offenses like selling weed.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy to...
That is a big problem.
To cage another human being is like, I would almost, like, let's say something happens where it's like, I don't know, money laundering or some dumb shit, where it's like,
white collar crime.
It's like, all right, 15 years in prison, you're going to get ass raped and all the other bullshit and all that stuff, or whatever the fuck happens, And it's like, I would rather you just shoot me than that. It's kind of crazy we cage.
I think that's what they should be doing to child predators.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
If you've raped or hurt a child, there should be no trial. I mean, well, okay. All right.
A fair trial.
You need to prove that they've done it.
Prove that they do it, but after that, meat grinder.
Yeah, and then they should be lined up against a wall and shot like dogs.
Exactly.
Because that's what they are.
Exactly.
I have no sympathy. Pedophiles aren't people. I'm a firm believer of that.
I'll drink to that, brother.
And I don't mean people that were like 19 when the girl was 17
Yeah, that's
or
different.
something.
19 versus 17 is different.
It's the fucking weirdos that are hurting fucking toddlers.
Exactly. That's
like
the fucking most evilest shit.
people that beat and rape their children.
And it's like, I don't like kids.
I'm not a huge fan of them, but
well, I mean, when I say it, it's like I like my friends that like if you're my friend and you have a kid, I like your kid.
Yeah.
For the simple fact of like, if you're my friend, I like you, so that's a part of you. So I'm like, all right, I like you. Like it wasn't literally till last weekend I held my niece and my nephew in my arms. It was like the first time where I'm like, oh, this is what love feels like. Like this is what real, genuine love feels like. It's weird because like babies and stuff creep me the fuck out. But like when
I'm just afraid to drop them.
yeah, exactly. Pretty much is
me.
the dropping thing scares the fuck out of me. But like when I held my niece and nephew in my arms this last weekend, I was like something changed. I was like, oh fuck, this is what love feels like. Like this is like literally like, oh, I will kill anything that tries to hurt this child, you know, like
well, that's what they say
entity.
the purpose of life is, you know, to
Exactly.
reproduce.
Like I'm like, oh, this is life. Like this is like a part of my blood that I'm holding right
Well, you know,
now.
that's the thing that concerns me. You know, if I decide to, you know, get a vasectomy or something like that, and for some reason it's non-reversible, you know, I honestly, between you and me, no one. I mean, look at the state of things right now. I don't know if I want to bring a child into this.
Exactly.
You know, but at the same time, you know, there might be. I do want to have a child, you know, in the future, but like people just think way too practically. You know, I think you know. You ever seen the movie Idiocracy?
Heard about it, never actually watched
Okay,
it.
so well, basically, like 200 years in the future, or probably more than that. It was I forget how far it was, but basically, all the smart people were like, "Oh, look, this isn't feasible to have children. Maybe we shouldn't." And all the trailer park trash was procreating like fucking rabbits.
Well, it's that Rogan thing with the pyramids.
Yeah.
It's like they dumb people outfuck the smart people.
Yep.
Type sort of thing.
Yep.
Which is very well true.
That's definitely true. I mean, so, some of the people that grow up in the worst communities become the worst criminals. The most violent people have grown up in horrible home lives,
Yeah, it's not the one where the father came home at a decent time and played catch with his son.
Well, see, that's
and the mom taught the son how to cook and how to, the father showed love to his wife and the son saw that. That guy's not going out, chopping people's heads off, type sort of thing. I agree with that wholeheartedly, but we are going to take a quick pause break from this. A, because it's cold as fuck.
Alright, had to take a quick break. I need to turn the heater back on because it's fucking cold in that motherfucker. I know. The whole, oh my god, the sound. Well, I did a little bit of nitpicking with the audio, so it's going to be a little bit different. It is what it is. I was cold. It's cold in that motherfucker, alright? Enjoy the rest of it, you bastards.
I'm gonna hit it. It's cool.
It's cool. It starts with me like posing a different opinion, and then it devolves into, oh, well, you're this, or you're that, or you're a fascist, or you're a Nazi, or you're a racist, or you're blah, 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 blah. They've diluted the meaning of those words so much. Just the word racist has been diluted so much to the point where it's like anyone who doesn't agree with you, or anyone 2 millimeters to the right of far left extremist is a fucking fascist, and that's like absolutely ridiculous. The majority of Americans are pretty fucking center, they just want to fucking live their lives and they want to be left alone.
The biggest thing about the racism thing is like, if I were to ever if I was ever to have anybody on this fucking earth who's white call me a racist, I'm gonna laugh in their fucking face and be like, nah, unless you went to like, if you're the only white person going to all minority school, like I was the only black kid going to an all white school, don't ever fucking say that I'm racist, motherfucker. Like you don't even know the half of that. And it was like high school wasn't even a big deal. Like racism for me happened in like the jobs, like working atmosphere, and even that wasn't racist people. More along they were fucking just assholes.
Well, I've experienced racism, and so has Emily when we lived in Philly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like she's like literally gone to a grocery store, that's local and has like a larger black population that usually shops there. She's like stood in line, to like go and check out or everything, and the woman like turns off the light and closes the lane. Says you got to go over there.
Yeah, exactly.
So she goes over there, and then
They
she
do the
flips
same
her light
fucking
back
thing.
on and takes the person behind her.
Yeah, they don't want to deal with it.
I've been looked at like I don't belong places, and but I have met some enlightened people too. You know, I don't think the majority of the black community subscribes to some of this bullshit. I mean, a lot of them are now like we're seeing the largest increase in African American conservatives in like United States history. Like it's increasing a lot because people realize, you know, like I've run into people. It's like I don't like these people that call me a victim. I'm not a fucking victim.
Yeah.
You know, like I've lived my life. I'm a product of my environment, and I've made my own fucking choices, and I'm here because of those choices. Yes. I've never been held back or stopped from doing something because of my skin color. It's physically illegal. Yeah. You can't not hire somebody. You can't refuse someone's service. You can't do any of that. It doesn't matter if it's your race, your gender, whatever. You're not allowed to discriminate. You know, but people still claim that they do. You know, I mean, I've definitely gotten in trouble talking about some of the feminist opinions, you know, like the wage gap and stuff like that. But, you know, if you look at it from a logical standpoint, you look at, okay, well, what careers are most women going into? You know, what are their interests? You know, like, do all women want to be engineers and scientists? No. I mean, the majority, a large majority of women, I think it's like over 40%, go into healthcare or nursing or something like that. Now, we can both agree on, like, say, for example, maternity leave is absolutely atrocious in the United States.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
You should not get 6 weeks. You should get 6 months to a year, period.
Yeah, period.
You know, like, no, we can agree on that kind of stuff. But
at least a year.
Yeah.
You know, like.
But what I don't like is people saying, "Oh, you make 75 cents on the, I make 75 cents on the dollar to, you know, what you make." It's like that's been factually disproven by economists over and over and over again, and people get angry because they think that I'm attacking women, and that's never the case. And it's just saying, look, these are the facts. Instead of living your life like you're a victim, like you're being oppressed, you need to be taught individuality, take charge of your life. But now, because of this collective ideology, everyone's a part of some kind of group. Yeah. You're a woman, or you're gay, or you're trans, or you're a white cis male, or you're a minority. You know, like everyone's part of these little fucking groups. What happened to people being fucking Americans?
Exactly.
You know, like I was raised that way. Like it doesn't matter who somebody is, what they think. You know, like they are Americans before they are anything else. They are my brothers and sisters. If someone were to invade this country, I would die defending them. It doesn't matter what fucking color they are.
I understand that, man. 100%.
But the problem is, you know, everyone's so divided now. And I blame the media and politics and all that.
It's true, man. It's crazy. I think this younger generation, I'm going to have a few exennials, or whatever they call them. The younger people.
Zoomers.
I'm going to have a few Zoomers on my podcast here, so I'm interested to hear their side of things. 'Cause I think you young bucks might be able to save this world. Hopefully.
Ha! I don't know. I mean, you seen TikTok?
Yeah, that's true. The funny thing about that is, the TikTok is in China. The algorithm promotes people that are actually doing scientific stuff or engineering. Here, the algorithm promotes dancing and bullshit.
It's a kind of like psychological warfare.
Exactly. It's the best way
They're
to
making us
cripple a
dumb
country.
intentionally.
100%. I'll tell you what. I know you got to go for this studio session.
Mm-hmm.
Give me like 5 minutes about the studio and your music, man. Oh, it's real, because I'm gonna go see you this weekend.
Oh, okay, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, you said you said this Saturday.
Saturday, I play at 9 o'clock at the Harrisburg Music and Arts Center. It's HMAC or whatever. It's in Harrisburg.
Harrisburg Music and Arts, HVAC.
HMAC.
Sorry.
Music and Arts Center. Yeah.
HMAC, Harrisburg this Saturday, 9 p.m. Get this out beforehand. And,
it's $10 before 11 o'clock, and it's $15 after 11. So,
all right.
So music. When I lived in Philly, I started DJing. Oh God, I don't know how long ago now. Maybe 5 years, maybe a little more than that. I'm not sure. But when I started doing it, you know, it was fun. You know, everybody wanted to be superstar DJ and whatnot. But then, like, you know, once you get into the music industry, you realize it's like, okay, I'm not unique. You know, there's fucking 10,000 other people just like me trying to do the same thing. And like I even started a production company when we lived in Philadelphia. We did something called the Furnace Party.
Nice.
We just showed up with speakers and sound equipment to this random like Reddit meetup thing. Like 1,000 people showed up. We were in the local paper and everything. It was pretty wild.
Shit.
And then we were throwing parties out in like what is it? Not Millersville, Westchester. You know, like we were doing pretty good. We were making money, not like a lot of money, but
enough to cover gas.
yeah,
You know?
and the expenses. We made a little money to invest in the next party, you know, stuff like that. And then me as an artist, I was involved with certain groups of people, but it gets to the point where things get really cliquey. You know, like the trouble is you start a collective, and it's like people want you to, you know, like you try to talk with another group and you try to throw a party together. Well, that group wants their artists, you know, headlining, or they want it at this specific place, or they only want this kind of music, and it becomes this thing where it's like you have these different like gangs. They're like crews of people, and everyone's vying for that attention. In a big city like Philadelphia, it's like you throw a party on a Friday night, there could be fucking 10 other parties happening across the city, and you're fighting for those people to come to your party, you know? And like, I want to say the politics of it, you know, the drama between artists and different collectives. You wrong somebody in a specific group, and they blacklist you, you know? Like, I was afraid because of some of my opinions, like when it came to like politics and stuff like that. Like,
well, I mean, you're definitely not throwing any parties after this podcast. Fucked. I'm sorry, but I will have you on again.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it shouldn't be like that, you know.
No, not
like
at all.
because I have a different opinion than you, I should not be ostracized or looked at as like an evil person. You know, if anything, talk to me. You know, okay, you have a different opinion about something. Tell me about it. Talk to me. Why do you feel this way? Disprove me. You know, but be respectful about it. Don't call me some fucking inbred Nazi.
Yeah.
And then fucking expect me to sit there and listen to what you have to say. And the same goes for me. You know, I can't just be insulting people.
Exactly.
You know, but yeah, I mean, music was fun, and then COVID happened. And, you know, I lost the production company. We couldn't throw parties or anything. You know, I just put everything on ice. You know, and it got to the point where it's like, God, I had a social media, and I pissed off the wrong people, and I just hate that so much, because it's like they didn't look at me as like someone who loves music and just wants to have fun, and they judge me, you know? And like that, it turned me off to music for a while. I've only recently gotten back into it. I'm playing the show on Saturday, and I might actually get signed to his label, you know, to play more parties more frequently. But for me, it's just a hobby, you know, because the whole thing with cars, you know, I learned from my past mistakes. If I did try to push hard. Like I had a Facebook page and a SoundCloud. I was like trying to network and meet people, and it just sort of killed the fun of it for me, you know? Like, but you know, I don't play out as often, or I don't go anywhere as frequently like I used to. But at the same time, it's like that peace of mind, you know, that love for it, that passion stays there.
That's good.
But good. You can't overdo it. You know, you have to do it when you want to do it, not because you have to do it because you need to make money, or you need to do this, or you need to do that.
I understand that. That's what I love with the game, man. So
Yeah.
I'm doing this. So I got you on, man. Hey, I love you, brother.
Love you too, buddy. It was good to talk to you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Hell yeah. We'll have one more little cigarette, maybe. But, yeah. We're done. Hit this motherfucker up. All right. Love you guys.